All right, let's go into Dawson County, and the reason we bring this up, and then we will get into more of the Syrian refugees, but the reason we bring this up today, I went over to Dawson County yesterday and visited the county courthouse, and I went up to the clerk of court, and I said I understand the grand jury has handed down 3 true bills. What that means is when you have a grand jury assembled, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. When you have a grand jury assembled, the district attorney presents a case to the grand jury, and it's not presenting the case. Now let's do the district attorney first. When you assemble a grand jury, the grand jury is to hear all of the possible cases. And the grand jury's decision is supposed to be, this is my understanding, so I'm sure somebody will correct me out there, but your grand jury's decision is supposed to be, what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to help make a determination on whether it's not guilty or innocent. You understand? Just because the grand jury says something doesn't mean they've been guilty. It's an indictment. Okay? But what happens is the grand jury is supposed to make the best decision it can make for its peers, the citizens of their county. That's what they're there. They're actually there representing their county and the population. And they're supposed to make the best decision they can for the citizens of that county on whether they think if something goes to trial in court, there's enough evidence or enough reason to take it to court and that the district attorney has a good case to present. Meaning, on the other side, if it's frivolous, if it's a waste of time, if there's not going to be enough evidence, okay. Now, your grand jury sitting there, and I'm going to tell you, let's go with this, Nydia Tisdale. Let me read these names. I'm going to tell you right now who your grand jury was. Others won't tell you this stuff. But here's on the grand jury. The grand jury selected, chosen, and sworn for the county of Dawson to witness Jera Daniel Allen, Barry Bearden, Robert Bell, Lee Bell, Russell Bottoms, Brian Kraft, Caroline Fox, Janet Gomez, Rihanna Gomez, Colleen, Patricia Jackson, Jerry P. Kelly, Janet Lynn Nelson, Suzanne Marie Portain, Stephanie Sargent, Ginger C. Dixon was an alternate, Rose Melissa Jean Sims, Jeffrey C. Spillane, Austin Reed Walls, James Randall Wells, Mary Ann Young, and Christina V. Mullins was also an alternate. That is the grand jury. Okay? Now, they presented 3 charges to the grand jury, the district attorney. Your district attorney is Lee Darriff. Lee Darriff. That's his name. District attorney. And he presented 3 charges to the grand jury that he was bringing Nydia Tisdale up on. And it was obstruction of an officer, a felony charge, obstruction of an officer misdemeanor, criminal trespass misdemeanor. And the grand jury found in all 3 counts true bills. Who you got? Sure. Not yet. True bills. Okay. 920. We have a caller and we're going to have to tell them 920. But they found a true bill in all 3 counts. Now, what does that mean? That means that the evidence, let me tell you what your district attorney is supposed to do. Your district attorney is supposed to present the grand jury with enough evidence and also should say to a grand jury, if this gets in court, they should show the opposite side. The grand jury should hear, I have a good case. The grand jury should hear, I think I can get this case in the courtroom, and I think we can win this case. I don't care what they say. This is what your district attorney should be telling your grand jury. So your district attorney should be a good steward of your citizens' money. Or they should say to the grand jury, I understand this case has a lot of emotion to it, but based on the evidence and based on what could be happening in this case, it could be tough to try. Now now I'm not saying that the district attorney Lee Darrow did not do that, but he should inform his grand jury that this could be a tough case to try. Now, I think, this is my opinion, get this straight, because sometimes people get confused when I give an opinion. I'm being very clear, this is my opinion. My opinion is I think Ms. Tisdale, which has been labeled a troublemaker, yes, there's several that say she's a troublemaker, okay, you have your right to say that. Ms. Tisdale should move to have this jurisdiction in another court. That's my opinion, because first, I look at Lee Darrow, the district attorney. And I'm not going to make any comments there, but, I look at him, and there's some things. Then I look at the witnesses. Tony Wooten is a witness. He is the officer. But Tony Wooten is also running for sheriff in Dawson County. Okay? It's just, let's tie these things together. Okay? Let's tie these things together. He's also running for sheriff. Now, I understand there's a gentleman by the name of Sosebee running for sheriff. I understand, and he was one of the witnesses. This is the sources. Sources tell me that Frank Sosebee's running for sheriff. He's one of the witnesses. Joey Johnson's running for sheriff. I've seen his signs. Jeff Perry's running for sheriff. That's what I hear. And Tony Wooten. Well, now, it's interesting. The witnesses is Tony Wooten, Johnny Burt, the owner of Burt's Pumpkin Farm, Frank Sosebee, Morris Pettit, okay, Jamie and Clint Bearden, William Finch, Linda Clay Umberger, Casey Sanders, Dan Pajon, and Gerald Swafford. Those are the witnesses. Did you see Ralph Hudgens on that list? Did you see Governor Nathan Deal on that list? Did you see me on that list? Now, I want to say something here. I am not on a side. All right? I'm not on a side. I want to be clear. Very clear. I don't care who's listening. I'm not on a side. I do, for transparency, I do know Miss Tisdale now. I do know her now. Okay. She has been at this office. She has sat right here. I have interviewed her. Okay. So I do know her now. On this day, I had met her as an acquaintance once or twice. Now let me explain something to you. When we go to a lot of these, political things, and there's a lot of media there, or these things that require a lot of media, you have your list of jackasses. The media jackasses. You have your list of jackasses that have, I call them the satellite truck boys. We have a satellite truck, you don't, okay? But for the most part, even a lot of the big guys, everybody exchanges pleasantries. So you go in, you got a camera, and you say, hi, how are you today? Hi, how are you today? So the extent of my relationship with Miss Tisdale up to this point was, hi, how are you? I had met Miss Tisdale once or twice at other things that she had her video camera, and I said, hi, how are you? And that was really the extent of our relationship at that time. Now, on the day that this took place, Miss Tisdale, now I was not called as a witness, but if I sat in a chair and everybody knew who I was, everybody knew who I was. Clint Bearden knew who I was, knows me. The Burts don't know me, but now Senator David Perdue, Representative Doug Collins, Lisa Collins. When I go in somewhere, I've got my camera around my neck, I've got my audio recorder. A lot of times I have a video. They know who I am. So they knew I was there as media, okay? Now, if I stick my hand out this far from my chair, I was touching the back of Miss Tisdale's head. She had set up in front of me with her camera. Now, if you go on FetcherNews.com, I'm the only one with the story. You're going to read this everywhere else. But I'm the only one that actually knows the story, okay? I did not go into the barn, but I do have the audio recording from the screams that Miss Tisdale, when she was being removed through the Burt Pumpkin Farm barn. But I was able to see from my right eye Johnny and Kathy Burt. I was able to see Ralph Hudgens say the things he said that caused this. Ralph Hudgens caused this. I'm just going to look in the camera. Insurance Commissioner Ralph Hudgens caused this. There was no question until Ralph. So, what is not a witness here is what did Ralph Hudgens go to say to Clint Bearden? What did anybody else say to Clint Bearden? Because Clint Bearden was over here. I don't dislike Clint, but I'm just telling you the truth of what happened. So I was able to see Johnny and Kathy Burt over here. Miss Tisdale was here in front of me videoing. Oh, Richard Wood had no problem. Nobody else had a problem. Attorney General didn't have a problem. Everybody knew who she was. Oh, yes, they knew who she was. She was invited. I was invited. We were invited to Burt's Pumpkin Farm. But over here to my left stood Tony Wooten. Now, at this time, I don't know he's a deputy. I don't know he's Tony Wooten. I don't know all the deputies in Dawson County. I don't know any of them. I mean, he had an embroidered shirt. It could have been Dawson Sheriff County. It could have been, child care prevention. I don't know. I didn't look at his shirt to see what it said. Okay? I didn't know who he was. I thought maybe he just been, maybe somebody that was privately hired. I don't know. I had no idea. I didn't know he was deputy of that. Now, I didn't know that myself, and I'm not taking up for anybody. I didn't know that. But I see Deputy Wooten, that I do know now is deputy of Dawson County. I see him to my left. And I see Clint Bearden go over and sit down with the Burts. And I see Clint Bearden come back and speak to Miss Tisdale. And then I seen Clint Burton go talk to the Burts and come back and speak to Officer Deputy Wooten. And then Deputy Wooten came in behind Miss Tisdale, not in front. And I guess asked her to leave when she then started asking him to identify himself. Now, the interesting thing is Miss Tisdale has won a lawsuit, $200,000 in the city of Cumming. She has won a lawsuit there. And she does seek $500,000, $550,000 lawsuit for pain and suffering. And is seeking, and it's public, and she wants a public apology from Wooten. Now, there's a lot of question on this. Tisdale's claiming her first, fourth, and 14 amendments were violated by the sheriff's office, Dawson County, and the event organizers. Okay, now I'm going to tell you this. She was invited. So we're coming into question of whether personal property, private property, what's going on here. You had public officials, you had elected officials, you had the governor of the state of Georgia sitting on the front row when this lady was forcibly removed. Now, I'm not trying to conclude a right or wrong in this. I'm just saying when she got there, if you go online, and I'm going to end this report because I want to do my state and national. We're going to do more on this tomorrow. Lonnie, I want this clip from the very minute, and I want it called the report, and we'll get a name. I want a clip from the very minute I started so we can continue to run this report, okay? And I'm going to do more on it tomorrow. But what I'm going to do, this is segment one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, now, have you ever created a Facebook invitation to something? And how do I know? At that time, now FetcherNews.com now covers Dawson County. We have started there about 3 months ago. Yesterday, we put up our first set of arrest records in Dawson County. You go to FetcherNews.com, Dawson County. You can see the arrest records. I went over there and I met with superintendent of schools. I had several meetings over there yesterday, said hello to a lot of people. We're getting the ball rolling there. At the time that this took place, veterannews.com did not have a Dawson County website. At that time, I did not go to Dawson County for any other reason than politics and being invited. Well, there was other reasons I've been to Dawson County, but anyhow, that being said, I was sitting here in my office one day and I got a Facebook invitation to an event. And it had, Governor Deal had invited me, I guess, to this event. And when I looked at it on Facebook, it said public event. It was public. It said Bert's Pumpkin Farm, and that I had been invited. Now, if you understand how this works, people go through and invite people. They click on their name or whatever. And then it said, are you attending? Okay. I clicked yes. Would you like to attend? I clicked yes. When you click yes on an event, now understand me, immediately everybody knows you're coming that created the event. So it said public, it explained the event, and it said it would be at Bert's Pumpkin Farm. Public event, political public event with your elected officials, with your tax money there. Okay? Now, there becomes a situation, if your elected officials are somewhere and they're giving a speech, do you have a right to be there? I don't know. But it was public, is what I was told. Now, I understand that some people, Kathy Burt may have said, I'm going to say the sources say Kathy Burt said that Miss Tisdale misrepresented herself. And she thought Miss Tisdale was with the governor's office, videoing for the governor's staff or political campaign. It's my understanding. Nobody asked me a question. Nobody asked me. I have my Veteran News badge on. Nobody asked me a single question about anything. I get to all these events 45 minutes early. I stood out there. I have a picture with me and the governor. I can find it. I had a picture with, took a picture with the governor. Nobody asked me who I was. Nobody said. I did not misrepresent myself to anybody. Now, Miss Tisdale, I watched her come in. I didn't hear her conversations with the Burts. I didn't hear her conversation with anybody in the barn as she entered in. But if you go online and you see the pictures of her and Sam Owens, you see that picture at Bert's Pumpkin Farm of her and the Attorney General, I took that picture right there in plain view. Everybody knew she was there. She was there 40 minutes before the event, was set up. Everybody seen her camera. It wasn't till Ralph Hudgens couldn't keep his big mouth shut and was talking about Michelle Nunn and Jason Carter, and he was over the top in his derogatory comments, and I'm not a liberal, but he was over the top in those comments, did he look down at Miss Tisdale and said, why do we have a video camera running? That's what started it. That's when Miss Tisdale then was asked, I guess, to leave. I'm going to leave it there, but she was forcibly removed, and the Burts did not get up. Now, I'm going to say, if Johnny Burt would have got up, I didn't think it ever had to escalate to enforcing it. I was there. I'm going to look you in the camera right in the eye. If I did this, I was touching the back of Miss Tisdale. I watched him forcibly pick her up and remove her. Now, whether he had the right or not, I'm going to leave that up to a court, but I watched it. I watched him do it right past the governor and his wife. I watched him do it right past Mark Butler, the labor, Secretary of Labor of the state of Georgia. I watched every bit of it. So did everybody else. That's why your Attorney General Sam Owens got up that day and said, did anybody else just see what I seen? Did anybody? Something like that. I've got the quotes. I have the audio. All the quotes you hear from Sam Owens are my audio, veterannews.com. And then he looked out at everybody. He said, what are we saying that we can't say in public? Now, if Johnny Burt would have got up and said, whoa, now, Tony, this is my property. This is and came up and said, now, Miss Tisdale, I own this place. I don't want no problem. I don't want nothing. But I'm going to ask you right now, I'd like for you to leave, and I don't want to see it come to this. Could you please just leave and not video no more? Okay, but that did not happen. Did not happen. So I'm wondering why the witness list is so short. I'm wondering why. Now, I can't tell you that they shouldn't have got a true bill. I can't leave that up to anybody. But in the name and on behalf of the citizens of the county of Dawson and the state of Georgia, charges and accuse Nydia Tisdale with the offense of obstruction of an officer, felony, for that said accused in the county of Dawson in the state of Georgia on the 23rd day of August 2014. I was there. I will read these counts in tomorrow's report. And the reason I'm not making a deal out of this, the reason I'm saying it's interesting right now of how the district attorney. Now, I heard sources told me that they're doing this. When I say they're doing this because I'm not going to say not for the right thing. That would be wrong for me to say. But that if they don't find a true bill against Ms. Tisdale, then Deputy Wooten could be civilly sued by Ms. Tisdale. If they find the true bill, this is what sources tell me, on Ms. Tisdale, that removes him being able to be civilly sued, is my understanding. But he's running for sheriff. The Burts are very upset, and I don't understand the witness list and how this case got presented. I don't know. Maybe because Ms. Tisdale's suing for the $500,000, they need to move forward. I don't know. I don't know if any of them sit down. I'm thinking to myself, why didn't after this happened, everybody sit down in a room and say, look, let's move past this. I don't know. Maybe they tried. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. We are going to do a solid hour of national information as soon as we return. I'm going to, if you'd like to be a sponsor of our show, please get in touch with us, chief@fetchernews.com, if you'd like to be a sponsor. Don't forget, Mattress Overstocked. Go see Gary, Richard, Rhonda, the mattress lady, for the best mattress at the best price. They truly want to help you sleep better. Promotional code, FetcherNews.com. East LJ Walmart Shopping Center. Mention you heard this on Fetch. Promotional code 706-698-7378. Come in for a great deal. Again, Mattress Overstocked. East LJ Walmart Shopping Center. LJ Fitness. 379 River Street in LJ. 706-636-2348. That's LJ Fitness. And don't forget, WebbWorks Lawn Care, locally owned, reliable service. Call Justin Webb. He's ready to work for you. Just give him a call. 706-889-4893. That's 706-889-4893. He does mowing, trimming, leaf blowing, edging, cleanup, and more. Give him a call for a free estimate today. I'll be back after these brief messages. I am BKP. Good morning from the office. The President of the United States is at war, but it's with you. The President of the United States is at war, but it's with our governors. Not ISIS, radical. Now, we gave you the Common Core math test. If 1.6 billion people in the world are Muslims, if there's 1.6 billion Muslims in the world, we're going to go with 15 to 25% of Muslims are radical Islam. Then let's just go with the 15. How many million Muslims want to kill you today? There you go. There's a thought, right? Let's think of that one. And I don't think it's coming to Washington, D.C., and I don't think it's coming to New York. I'll tell you where I think it's coming. Oh, yes. In our top news today, we call it our gas station news. Don't forget. Charlie Sheen is HIV positive, and Miley Cyrus has posed nude for the cover of a magazine. That's in our top news today at gas station news. All right. I'll be back after these brief messages. BKP.